Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging into some really fascinating source material today, pulling out the insights you might miss otherwise.
That's right.
Today, we're stepping right into, well, a pretty intense world. Martial arts, shifting alliances, really complex loyalties. Our mission is to unpack this high-stakes standoff happening at the Shaolin Temple. We want to give you that shortcut to really understanding this pivotal moment.
Yeah, and it starts with some serious tension. You've got our main character, Ling Hu Chong. He's alone, searching for Ying Ying, actually.
Right.
And he sort of stumbles into being a secret observer at this critical meeting inside the temple.
Right.
The atmosphere is just thick with unspoken conflict, and then, bam, it just erupts. Sudden, shocking violence.
It's incredibly brutal, isn't it? Ling Yuchong's trying to stay hidden, full stealth mode.
Yeah.
But then, out of the shadows, Ren Wuxing and Sheng Wentian, they just appear.
And their actions are just swift, silent, deadly.
In moments, 8 people are dead. Just like that.
Terrifying efficiency.
It absolutely shatters the mood, shifts everything instantly.
What's really striking is the precision, the silence of it all. It just underscores how lethal they are. And right after that, the quote-unquote righteous leaders start showing up.
Okay, the big names.
Yeah, you've got Feng Zheng from Shaolin, Zhong Zhu from Wudang, Zhuo Lingshan from Songshan.
Yu Buquan and Ning Zongzi from Huashan, too, right?
Exactly, them and others. It's like a collision of these major powers. And the verbal jabs start almost immediately.
Thinly veiled insults, challenges.
Oh, yeah. You can just feel the static in the air.
Yes.
It's intense.
And right at the core of all this conflict is something deeply tragic. The deaths of the Hengshan abbesses Ding Xian and Ding Ji.
Right. Ying Ying actually recounts how Feng Zheng had released her earlier. A kindness, really, because the abbesses pleaded for her.
Okay, so there's that connection.
But then, after she runs into some people from the Songshan faction, she hears the news. They're dead.
Oh, wow. That's a real gut punch. Adds a personal layer of tragedy to this whole power struggle.
And the immediate question is, who did this? And why? Ying Ying reveals this crucial detail, chills Ling Hu Chong right to the bone.
What is it?
The abbesses were killed by steel needles to the heart, not poison.
Steel needles. That implies skill, precision.
Exactly. This wasn't random. It points to a skilled, ruthless attacker. And for Ling Hu Chong, this is devastating. He realizes they died, at least partly because of him and Ying Ying.
Fueling his need for revenge, I imagine.
Absolutely. And with the tension already sky high, Ren Wuxing steps up. He throws down this audacious challenge, a 3 battles contest.
Wow. Okay, like a formal duel series.
Pretty much a way to settle things through these high-stakes fights instead of just an all-out brawl.
That certainly escalates things.
And these battles are not just about fighting skill. They're tactical. They're moral tests.
So there's one.
Ren Wuxing versus Feng Zheng. And Ren Wuxing wins, but how he wins is key. He exploits Feng Zheng's compassion.
How does he do that?
He attacks Yu Konghai, knowing Feng Zheng, being a compassionate monk, will have to step in to protect the weaker guy.
Forces his hand.
Exactly. When Feng Zheng moves to help, Ren Wuxing counterattacks, hits his vital points. It's brutal.
That's calculating.
It really poses that question, doesn't it? In this kind of world, is mercy a weakness? Or is sticking to your principles, like Feng Zheng does even in defeat, a different kind of strength?
A heavy question. That tactic is chilling. Makes you wonder about that kind of cunning.
And it doesn't stop there. Second battle, Ren Wuxing versus Zhuo Lingshan.
Okay.
Ren Wuxing is a bit weakened, but he still manages to defeat Zhuo Lingshan. But this is where it gets really interesting.
Oh, what happens?
Zhuo Lingshan pulls a secret move. He uses his cold ice true ki, this incredibly frigid internal energy, against Ren Wuxing's famous star-sucking great skill.
The one that absorbs energy.
Right. Zhuo basically lets Ren Wuxing try to absorb his energy, but floods him with this freezing chi instead. Incapacitates him, just for a moment.
Whoa, so Zhuo Lingshan wins that round.
If he does. But it costs him dearly. He uses up a massive amount of his own internal energy, leaves him severely drained.
A Pyrrhic victory, almost.
You could say that. Shows Zhuo's cunning, his willingness to pay the price. And this leads to the third battle, which is a total curveball.
What does Ren Wuxing do?
In this really dramatic moment, he calls for Ling Hu Chong to fight Chong Su.
Ling Hu Chong against the Wudang leader.
Right.
But what happens next is
Come on.
unexpected, right?
Totally surprising. Changzu, this revered Wudang master, he just concedes, doesn't even draw his
He
sword.
just gives up. Why?
He says he already lost to Ling Huchang back on Wudang Mountain.
Ah, that earlier encounter.
Exactly. And our sources explain it's because of Ling Huchang's Dugu 9 swords.
The technique learned from Feng Qingyang.
The very one. It's all about improvisation, finding the flaw in any technique. It makes Ling Huchang basically unbeatable in a straight sword duel, even against a master like Changzu.
So Changzu knew he couldn't win a fair fight.
Pretty much, and his conceding like that, it's huge. It validates Ling Huchang's skill in front of everyone, all these righteous sects, despite his current complicated alliances.
Solidifies his reputation, not as a follower, but as a powerhouse in his own right.
Definitely. A force to be reckoned with, purely based on that incredible sword art.
That's a massive shift for Ling Huchang. And this recognition, it kind of sets the stage for maybe the most personal, most painful fight yet.
Ah, yes. Yu Bu Khan challenges Ling Huchang.
His former master.
Yeah.
For anyone following the story, you know that relationship is incredibly complex, almost like father and son once upon a time.
And this is where you really see Ling Huchang's internal conflict just explode. He's torn. His loyalty, his gratitude to Yu Bu Kwan.
Versus his need to protect Ying Ying.
Exactly. So he deliberately holds back. He refuses to use the Dugu 9 swords against his master.
What does he use then?
Just standard Huashan swordplay. The very stuff Yu Bu Kwan taught him. He's only defending.
That's heartbreaking. But Yu Bu Kwan, he doesn't fight fair emotionally, does he?
Not at all. He uses a counter tactic that hits Ling Huchang right where it hurts. He starts using the Chongling swordplay.
Wait, the technique Ling Huchang created.
Right.
With Yu Lingshan, his former love.
The very same. This isn't just fighting anymore. It's pure psychological manipulation.
Yeah.
Yu Bu Kwan's trying to break him, hinting at reconciliation, coming back to the righteous path, maybe even marrying Lingshan.
If he just gives up Ying Ying and rejoins Huashan.
Essentially, yes. And seeing these moves, these personal techniques, Ling Huchang is described as being just utterly disoriented, a storm of grief and confusion inside him.
Understandably so.
And the irony is, this turmoil, this internal breakdown, it actually causes him to accidentally slip into using Dugu 9 swords.
Oh no, so he wounds Yu Bu Kwan.
Unwittingly wounds his wrist, yes. The very thing he was trying to avoid.
And then?
Yu Bu Kwan lands a powerful counter kick. Ling Huchang collapses, unconscious. His refusal to harm his master leads directly to his master's injury and his own defeat. Just devastating.
After that emotional wreckage, Ling Huchang wakes up.
Right.
In a cave.
Yes, in a mountain cave with Ying Ying. Thankfully, he's mostly recovered, his own internal energy, plus Zhang Wentian helped him out.
Okay, good. But then comes another revelation.
A huge one. While they're recovering, they overhear a conversation. It's Ning Zongzi and Yu Bu Kwan. They're nearby, frozen, solid, like snowmen victims of Zhuo Lingshan's cold ice key earlier.
I can hear them talking even though they're frozen.
Apparently so. And this conversation, it confirms Zhuo Lingshan was likely behind the Hengshan abbess's deaths.
Okay, confirms that suspicion.
But maybe even worse, they hear Yu Bu Kwan laying out his ambition, his plan to unify the Five Peaks sword sects under his control, even if it means sacrificing Huashan's identity.
Ruthless ambition.
And the final blow. They hear him admit he's using his own daughter, Yu Lingshan, as bait for Ling Huchang.
Oh, that's just cold, utter betrayal.
Brutal clarity for Ling Huchang. It completely shatters any lingering loyalty and sets him on a totally new path.
I can only imagine how it must have felt. And just when you think things might settle down, more drama.
Always. A group of villains shows up, threatening Yu Lingshan and Lin Pingzi out in the snow.
And Ling Huchang, despite everything, jumps in.
Doesn't hesitate. Even with his own issues, he leaps into action.
Using the Dugu 9 swords again, presumably?
Oh, yeah. And this time, it's brutally efficient. He takes out the entire group, single-handedly. It's quite shocking, actually, that level of violence right after his emotional struggle.
A real contrast.
And then he finds something carved on those frozen snowmen nearby. A message. Seawater dries, rocks rot, two hearts unchanging.
Poignant.
Yeah.
And ironic, given everything happening, referring to Lin Pingzi and Yu Lingshan.
Exactly. Highlighting their fragile love amidst all this deception and turmoil.
So his master's true nature is revealed. The immediate threat is gone. What's next for Ling Huchang? Another choice.
A big one. Ren Waxing tries again, tries to recruit him into the Sun Moon sect. He even offers the cure, the solution for the side effects of the star-sucking great skill.
Tempting offer. Power and a fix for his internal problems.
Very tempting. But Ling Huchang gives a firm no.
Why? What reason does he give?
His promise. His unshakable promise to the dying Abbess Dingxian. He vowed he would become the Hengshan sect leader.
Wow. Head of a sect historically led by nuns. That's unexpected.
Completely unexpected. Ren Waxing, Shang Wentin, even Yinging are stunned. A male leader for Hengshan.
So Ying, how did she take it?
It's bittersweet. She leaves, recognizing his unwavering loyalty to his word, even if it separates them, for now. It really defines Ling Ho-chang, doesn't it? Prioritizing that promise over everything else.
It really does.
Yeah.
So, true to his word, he heads off to Hengshan.
He does. And his arrival scene is just pure chaos, but in a funny way.
Oh, who's there?
Imagine the Peach Valley Six Immortals, those loud, eccentric, always arguing brothers, they're already there.
Oh, that's a recipe for noise.
And then, the real shocker, Tian Boguang shows up.
The flirtatious thief. What's he doing there?
He's now a monk, calls himself cannot break precepts. Apparently he was forcibly converted by Buji.
Yelin's father, the monk who doesn't follow rules himself.
That's the one. So you have this incredibly strange mix of people gathering at Hengshan.
What does that mean for the sect?
Well, it actually solves a problem, doesn't it? How can a man lead a sect of nuns?
By adding male disciples, even if they are extremely eccentric ones.
Exactly. Amidst all this wonderful chaos, Ling Ho-chang quietly gets to work. He dedicates himself. He even finds and starts teaching a more advanced Hengshan sword technique he discovered.
So he's adapting, finding pragmatic solutions.
Absolutely. Shows his leadership style isn't about rigid rules, but about making things work, even in bizarre circumstances.
Okay, so fast forward to the inauguration day. Hengshan. Must be quite the scene.
It is festive decorations, but still that underlying Hengshan austerity. And you can feel the tension. Ling Ho-chang knows his decision to take over. It sent ripples through the whole martial world.
And people start showing up.
Oh, yes. Unexpected guests. First, Jiabu and Shang Guanyun arrive brazenly. They're emissaries from Oriental Undefeated.
From the Sun Moon sect leader, what do they want?
They bring these lavish gifts, including some of Yingying's personal things from Blackwood Cliff. It's basically an attempt to publicly link Ling Ho-chang to the Sun Moon sect, trying to co-opt his newfound legitimacy.
A power play.
Very bold. But then, the truly shocking arrivals happen.
Ooh.
Fang Zhang of Shaolin and Changzu of Wudang.
The actual leaders, they came in person.
In person, which, if you think about it, is massive.
Yeah.
When Yu Buquan had his inauguration, they just sent representatives.
Wow. That shows incredible respect for Ling Ho-chang, doesn't it? Almost unintentional influence he's gaining.
Huge respect. But even with them there, the challenges aren't over. Yu Lehu from Songshan steps up.
What's his issue?
He tries to use the old no association with evil rule against Ling Ho-chang, pointing at, well, the Peach Valley Six, Tian Boguang.
Right, the unconventional disciples.
Yeah.
Trying to undermine him right from the start.
Exactly. A direct public challenge to his leadership.
Just when it seems like an impossible bind.
In comes Yingying. Dramatic entrance in a sedan chair, right on time.
Perfect timing. What does she do?
She pulls off this brilliant, audacious move. She snatches the alliance flags right out of Yu Lehu's hands and replaces them with the 5 poison flags from Lan Fenghong, who's also present, utterly humiliates the Songshan guy publicly.
That's incredible. But how does that solve the problem?
Here's the masterstroke. Yingying declares that all the quote-unquote evil sect members there, the Peach Valley guys, Tian Boguang, everyone, are now officially Hengshan disciples.
Oh. So they're part of Hengshan now.
Exactly, which completely nullifies the no association rule. They're his people now.
Genius. How does Ling Ho-chang react?
Quick thinking. He immediately sets up a Hengshan separate courtyard for them in Tongwen Valley, keeps the male and female disciples separate, maintains tradition somewhat.
And the big leaders, Feng Zhang and Changzu.
They actually seem to approve, tacitly at least. They see it as a clever way to bring these chaotic elements under some kind of structure, some control.
Pragmatic.
Yeah.
But the conflict with Songshan isn't over, is it?
Not by a long shot.
Oh.
Yu Lehu delivers Zhuo Lingshan's ultimatum. The 5 Peaks sword sects are to gather at Songshan.
To elect a unified leader.
That's the plan. Sets the stage for the next big confrontation.
And immediately after that, more chaos.
Just a bit. Lan Fenghuang poisons Yu Lehu. A final act of defiance.
And Ling Ho-chang.
He steps in, secures the antidote. Not just saving the guy, but solidifying his own authority right there, showing he's in charge now.
And then he lays down the law for his new diverse flock.
Pretty much. Reestablishes the core Hangshan rules, adapting them for this new reality. It shows his practical, compassionate leadership style taking shape.
So after covering all that ground, this incredible deep dive, what really stands out to you about Ling Huchang's journey here, from that reluctant hero to this, well, very unconventional sect leader? How has his idea of righteousness changed, do you think, from what Yu Buquan taught him to what he's actually doing now?
Well, what really strikes me is the massive shift happening in the martial world's power dynamics. The whole landscape is changing.
Right.
And those old, rigid definitions of good and evil, they're really being challenged, not by doctrines, but by, individual actions, individual choices. Ling Huchang's path really highlights that. It shows that real leadership, maybe, isn't about sticking to labels. It's about loyalty, sure, but also compassion and being willing to embrace the unconventional, even if it means forging your own path, messy as it might be.
It definitely makes you reconsider those easy labels, doesn't it?
Right.
Good guys, bad guys. It's rarely that simple here.
Not at all.
And the story doesn't end there, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Our sources leave us hanging a bit.
They do, with a really intriguing tease. Feng Zhang and Changsu, these two towering figures of the righteous path, they ask Ling Huchang for a private meeting.
At the Hanging Temple, away from everyone else.
Exactly. What critical information do they need to share away from prying ears? What other complications are waiting for Ling Huchang?
And what does all this mean for the future of the martial world? Lots of questions left.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe, for you to consider as you mull this over. In a world like this, where heroes face impossible choices, and even villains show loyalty sometimes, what really defines a leader? And what sacrifices do they have to make to carve out their own authentic path?